Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our meeting tonight. And thank you for taking some time out of, I'm sure, a very busy schedule to listen in on what we believe is some very important information. 2025 has come in, and as you can see, as we all can see, is getting out of here just as quick as it came in. It's hard to believe that we're already in the 16th of January. Half of the month is gone, and we were just saying Happy New Year. And so we have to be about the business of getting the financial house in order, all the goals that we've set for 2025 in 2024. If we don't have a real sense of urgency, it's going to pass. And by the middle of the year, we're going to discover that it's the same thing, the same financial situation, and sometimes even worse than it was toward the end of the year. Well, tonight we're going to talk about some basic fundamentals. And I'm Ricky Pitts, and I'll be your host for tonight. And again, on behalf of Betsy Cooper Harris, which is a regional vice president with us, and some other team members are on our team tonight, we want to thank you for your time. But we're going to begin by talking about the four things that we believe that's really important. Number one is get properly protected. That's number one. Number two is start investing for the future. Number three is learn how to become debt free. And then number four, earn additional income. Now, when I say properly protected, I'm sure all of us have seen or know someone, either a friend or somebody in our family, that passed and had nothing and left their family in a real bad situation. All of us know people that have worked all of their lives to get to the end of their working journey and have nothing saved because nobody showed them how to invest for the future. And all of us know someone that has so much debt, and everywhere they turn, there's an obligation to pay somebody this week. And it makes them feel like, why am I going to work? And I feel like I'm working for nothing. And then also, we probably all know someone that can use another $500 a month, 1,000 a month, whether it's working overtime or getting a part-time job or something to make all the ends come together. We're going to talk about that tonight, and it's going to be based on how money works. This is what Primerica does. They teach people how money works, real basic financial concepts. Now, we can't do all of that by ourselves, which is why we have all of these partners that you see here on the screen. And if you're familiar with any of those partners, if you would put the name in the chat, whether it be Rocket Mortgage, whether it be Answer Financial, whether it be Equitable, whether it be Fidelity, whether it be Franklin Templeton, Primerica, some of these names on this screen, and quite a few of them, are household words. So it's important when building the financial house that we build a financial house with companies that we feel good about and that we feel sure that it's going to take care of our loved ones throughout the end. So these things are pretty important. Now, the next thing, this is a common misconception or misunderstanding that the average and ordinary people cannot become financially independent. And ladies and gentlemen, that could not be further from the truth. So the first thing in that list of things for 2025 is to go ahead and settle in mind, I can do this. I can get out of debt. I can build financial security. I can get my financial house in order. I can put everything on paper and begin again. And this will be a brand new beginning for me, for us, in the beginning of 2025. Yes, you can do it. Now, here's a problem, however, with money. The problem with money is money does not come with instructions. Now, everything else in life has instructions. You can buy a microwave oven, there are instructions. You can buy a bicycle for your son or daughter, there's going to be some instructions. You can buy a new computer or an iPhone or whatever it may be, they're going to come with a little small book saying, do this, step one, step two, step three. But that dollar bill has no instructions. So people get paid on Friday, they say, what am I going to do with this? And they just go do what the mind says, go do. And this is all around the country. This is not, I'm not trying to make light of this. It's a fact Around the country, people don't know how money works. Now, here's a result of not knowing it and not having a manual. Here's a guy, 65 years old, been working since he was 25 years old. But look at the situation here. 60% of Americans have less than $50,000 saved toward retirement after working for, in this case, 40 years. Another sad commentary is this: more than 60% of Americans say they worry more about running out of money than going to the graveyard. Why? Because they don't want to have to depend on anybody to take care of them, and been used to taking care of themselves for all their lives, going to work, making a living, paying the bills, buying the cars, paying the house payment. All of a sudden, a switch has taken place. And say, my God, what am I going to do? Because I cannot depend, listen to this, I can't depend on my children because they don't have time or they don't have the money. So something has to change, which is why it's so important to know how money works. Now let's look at this. The high cost of waiting. When we don't prioritize saving money, it's going to cost us a lot of money. Let's say that this same guy that we just talked about rolled back the hand of time, if that were possible, and went back 40 years to age 25 years old again. And he says that I'm going to prioritize now because I believe that I'm going to have a certain sum of money when I get to retirement. So I'm going to prioritize now. I'm going to put aside $200 monthly. I'm going to put aside $50 out of every paycheck. By the time he hits 65 years old, ladies and gentlemen, he has $943,280 in his investment account. If you just gets a reasonable rate of return, average 9% in a good growth mutual fund, that's close to $1 million because he prioritized. But let's say that he puts it off and he waits for 1 year, 26 years old. He's going to save $2,400 by waiting 1 year. But that 2,600 is going to cost him 83,200 on the other side. How? Because he would have had 943, now he has 860. You see, we can procrastinate on certain things, maybe on going to the gym. We do that. That's naturally, right? We can procrastinate on learning how to type. But there are certain things we cannot procrastinate on, ladies and gentlemen, because it's going to hurt not only us, but it's going to hurt our loved ones in a really big time way. It's critical that we don't put these kind of things off. Now, here's another example of not having instructions with that money. It's called debt. It's easy to get these credit cards, but my goodness, it is something else to get rid of them. There are many people right now in January looking at the balance from November and December going shopping. During the whole month of December, they singing jingle bell, jingle all the way. But now in January, they're saying, oh my, there are no bells ringing. Uh, You see my point. So it's easy to get these credit cards. And look at the example right here now. Here's an average American family that has about $101,000 in consumer debt. This is the average. And here's another important point. Of the 61% of Americans with credit card debt, 23% go deeper into debt every single month. So here it is. The balance is already very, very high. And there's a birthday coming up. There's an anniversary coming up. There's a graduation coming up. And I've got to go and spend money on this event because if I don't do it, it wouldn't be human. It wouldn't be, it just be, wouldn't be, just wouldn't, how would I look? What would people say? Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say this as humble as I know how. If we worry about what people are going to say and what they think in building our financial affairs, we will not only just get in debt, we will stay in debt. It's very important to kind of scale it back a little bit and make the main thing and keep the main thing the main thing. And that's going to be our individual families. That's the main thing. Let's talk about how we can get out of some of that debt. There's something called debt stacking. You see here, there's one, two, three, four, five obligations. And those are the payments, 220 all the way up to 1293 per month. Now, at some point, the 220 is going to be paid out. At some point, the 573 is going to be paid out. At some point, the car loan of 551 is going to be paid out. At some point, the other credit card of 303 is going to be paid out. Now, here's the point. When this 220 right here is paid out, all we're saying is add it to this 353. So and then to send them 573. And when this 573 is paid out, add it to the car payment. Don't send them 551 anymore. Send them 1124. When this 1124 is paid out, add it to this 303, which is this credit card right here, and send them 1427 until it's paid out. And when this 1427 is paid out, that last one, add that 1427 to the mortgage and send them 2720. If they don't do it, they'll be in debt for 23 years and they'll pay 214,000 in interest alone. If they do it, they'll be out of debt in 9 years, 14 years sooner, and they would avoid $130,000 in interest alone. You see, debt stacking sounds so simple to where most people don't do it. You got to give me something else, Rick. It's got to be something that's more sophisticated. Come on now, give me some more math. It needs to be more mathematics. No, it's simply debt stacking. When one is paid out, take that money, add it to the previous bill or another bill until it's paid out. When it's paid out, add them two together, put them on the next bill. And before you turn around, ladies and gentlemen, you are completely out of debt. Here's another sad commentary when people don't have that money, don't have instructions. It's protection. What you see here is a father holding the hand of his little girl. And you know how daddy is about that little girl, right? And she knows that dad is going to protect me. Dad is going to always be there. But here's another sad commentary. Nearly 48% of Americans have no life insurance coverage at all. I mean, more than 4 in 10 adults report to having no life insurance or they don't have enough. So if something were to happen to that dad that's holding the hand of that little girl, it's going to be devastation. I want to show you another real picture here of a real life situation. We'll call them John and Mary. John is bringing home $3,500 per month. His wife is also bringing home $3,500 per month. Their bills and obligations, you see, is also $7,000 a month. So they're bringing in together 7,000 and they're spending 7,000. Now, I want you to put in the chat, what do you think they did wrong during their life? I'm not judging them. I'm just simply saying they're making 7,000, spending 7,000. Put in the chat, what do you think they did wrong? And what is that going to lead to if somebody don't teach them how to bring it together, how to get the financial house in order? What are some of the consequences of spending exactly what we're making? But let's look at this. Suppose all of us, that's right, somebody said too much debt, no cushion. That's exactly correct. Suppose all of a sudden he's gone. If he's gone, now what's going to happen? What's going to happen to the mortgage over here? Somebody said not budgeting and no vision. That's exactly correct. What's going to happen to one of these cars? What about child care? Some of these things, they got to just cut them out because they simply cannot, she cannot afford it anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, this doesn't have to be. You see, if we can rationalize during Christmas to spend a lot of money, if we can rationalize during a birthday or a holiday, any kind of holiday or graduation to spend a lot of money, we can rationalize to set aside 50, 100, 150, $200 a month for life insurance to make sure that our loved ones are going to be okay in the event of our demise. This is very, very important. Let's take a look at this in another example here now. Which program should they get? There's something called Index Universal Life. It's kind of the new kid on the block. And we'll look at this same John and Mary, 35 years old, and he has 250,000 on him. His wife has 250,000 on her. And they feel that, boy, we're doing really good now, and this is going to make a real big difference for us. Well, if they die, the family will get $250,000. There's no questions about that. If they live to 65 years old, they got $127,000 in their savings. But here's the problem. To get that 127 out, they have to borrow this money. And when they borrow that money, it's going to be this policy over here is going to be the collateral for the loan. Which means if they take that money out, that savings out, and they can take it out, they can borrow it out at a pretty reasonable rate of return. If they don't put it back before they die, the buck of it is going to come from that $250,000. And they got some where they can get insurance and the savings, but it costs a whole lot more. My point is though, is it wise to put your money in a place you got to borrow out your own money? If you don't pay it back before you die, they take it from something else. Does that, just think about that for a moment. Is there any wisdom in that at all? Let's keep going. They can put that same 251 in the family budget. The same $251 a month. You're gonna put the same 250 on John, same thing on his wife, on Mary, but they paying $88 a month. So of that 251, they still got 163 left. And they got the same coverage on him, same coverage on her, but they did it for 30 years. They bought a term policy. Now I'm gonna show you why they bought term. They bought the kind that Uncle Sam put on the Army, Navy, Air Force, or the Marine. Is term insurance. They bought the kind that the insurance agents that sell insurance buy term insurance. Think about that one. So by putting that money aside, that 163 difference in a Roth IRA, that's over $300,000 in their account, in their investment account. If something were to happen to him, the family's gonna get the 300,000 plus the 250. If something happened to her, they're gonna get the 300,000 plus her 250, not just one or the other. And they don't have to borrow the money out, they withdraw. Now you tell me, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't the word withdrawal sound a whole lot better than the word borrow when I'm using my money in the same sentence? We're not, this is not rocket science. We're not trying to confuse anybody. This is like 2 plus 2 is 4. These are basic fundamentals. Now, there's something called the theory of decreasing responsibility. Now, what that means is this. In the early years, we've got to have a lot of insurance. Why? The kids are young. There's high debt. There's a house mortgage. And the loss of an income in the early years would be devastating. Why is that the case? Let's look at it. Well, it takes about, to raise a child to 18 years old, about $200,000. If you have two, that's about $400,000, about $11,000 a year. Now, everybody on this call that your kids can eat you out of a house and a home. Am I right about it? When they're out of school during the week, during the summer, boy, the refrigerator is like a swinging door. Just they swinging, opening and closing it, right? Lights are on, lights off. Air conditioning wide open. Then they want to go buy some school clothes. Then they want to go on a school trip and all. 11,000 a year. 18 years, it takes $400,000 to raise two kids to 18 years old. Then if there's debt, that's another 75,000 in credit cards and cars and loans. The mortgage on the home, let's say that's 325,000. So right away, right here, they need 800,000 to cover the basics. We're not talking about splurging, we're talking about to cover the basics. So it's really important that we have at least some minimums like 250,000 or 150,000 in some cases, 300,000. These are the minimums now. This is not to make anybody wealthy, ladies and gentlemen. This is to keep them out of poverty and make sure the family can be all right. This is the math. This is the math part of it. That's why you buy term, because you need term for a term, not for our whole life. Now, let's go a little bit further with it. As they get older, 30 years later, things are going to change. All the dynamics will change 30 years down the road. You know why? The kids are grown. The debts are lower. The mortgage is paid. and they need retirement income, because when those kids are grown at that, they don't need life insurance for the kids at that. Those kids are good and grown. They got full-time jobs, they're working, taking care of themselves, and then the debts are lower. They don't have 75,000 in this case. Now they got 25,000. The mortgage is either paid or almost paid it. They don't owe 325 on it now. They owe 50,000 on it now. So they don't need as much insurance for the benefit of the children. You see, there are two things as we get older we have to always protect against, because we all are getting older. That first thing is we got to protect against is dying too soon and not having life insurance and leaving all of this on our loved ones. The next one is living too long and getting to retirement and having no money saved, or having less than $50,000 saved at 65 years old. Now, we know that's the case for a lot of people right now because they didn't have the opportunities that we have today. But now we don't have those, we don't have any excuses now, because somebody is going to teach us and we can go out and implement. We don't have to just be informed, not just information, but implementation. And therein lies a big difference. So people don't plan to fail, they fail to plan. And financial companies will come in and sell you another product. You want some credit cards, they got you covered. You want an installment loan, they got you covered. You want a mutual fund, they got you. All the things that they got you covered. But what we need is a financial game plan, a financial needs analysis, and it serves as a GPS, a global positioning system. And it answers some very important questions. Questions like, how am I going to retire? Questions like, how much do I need to have put back to retire with some degree of dignity? Questions like, how can I get out of some of this debt? Questions like, what is the budget and how can I get a budget together that me and my spouse can agree on? These are very important questions, and the financial needs analysis is going to help and bring some answers to those questions. So one question is, why do so many families fail when it comes down to their money? Why? Because most people conform, and they've been indoctrinated. They've been taught their whole life that the way to live the real good life is to get you a real good secure job and become a good employee. The question is, how is that working out so far for people that you know? And how is that working out so far for some of the people on this webcam, on this webinar tonight? You see, ladies and gentlemen, all we're saying is we got to look in the mirror. We got to assess, evaluate, and say, what do I need to do right now in preparation for the next season of my life financially? There are some other things we have to do along with that. This is only one piece, but it's a very critical piece. And then once we determine that, we got to be willing to make some changes. And let's take a look at these people right here. This guy is a counselor, doesn't look too happy. She's an administrator, she doesn't look real happy. A nurse, she said, my goodness, what in the world? What did I do this for? This guy's a teacher. He said, these kids in this room, well, he said a lot of stuff. And here's a social worker. She said, why didn't this family clean up this house before I got here today? And this guy's a lawyer. He said, I can't believe they came to me to defend them against what I know they did. They're guilty. Folks are just so frustrated and aggravated, and they have all these student loans looming over their head. And many of them are in careers that they don't like anymore. I was talking to a teacher the other day, teacher and a coach. She's been one of the most great coaches throughout the years in the public high school system. But she went to another system and she got involved in that system, was going to go out there and build that program, and ran into politics in the school system. She told me the other day, Mr. Pierce, I don't like it anymore. I don't want to get up anymore. I don't want to even go to work anymore. It's no fun anymore. So she's going to leave what she had a passion for, all into athletics, coaching and teaching. Now, because of the change in the game, she's going to get out of there. It's amazing. It's amazing. And so we got to look at these things. Now, when you look at all that, don't like what to do, student loans, and you couple that with the fact that the average person can't put their hands on $1,000, ladies and gentlemen, after working for 20, 30 years, because nobody showed them the manual. Money don't come with a manual. After working all this time, if an emergency were to come up, they couldn't find $1,000. You know why? Because the average person right now is living paycheck to paycheck, 60%. You go to a room where there are 10 people. You go to a meeting where there are 100 people. You go to church where there's a whole congregation and they're taking notes. And 60% is living paycheck to paycheck. That's not making anybody feel bad. That's not condescending. Those are statistics. And they've studied these numbers, and we're saying we can do better. There are 5 reasons that people get involved in this kind of work as I get ready to bring this to a close. One reason is this: they don't like their current job. They're sick and tired of being sick and tired. Number two, the second reason, they want some extra income. What they do for a living is not enough. Number three, they want a financial education, some financial literacy. They say, I'm tired of working so hard, and at the end of the month, I'm out of money. As a matter of fact, before the end of the month is up, I got more month than I do money. This is what they're saying. And this just shouldn't be. Number four, they love helping people. They will give you the shirt off their back. And then number five, they want to work for themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think about this. When you look at these five in the chat, if you would please put in the chat, what do you think is most people interest? What would they choose? One, two, three, four, five, or all five of them? If you would please put that in the chat. What would you choose if you look at those five? Which ones of the five jump out to you? Just put it in the chat if you would, please. Somebody says all five. All right. And then anybody else, what jumps out to you in those one, two, three, four, five? Put it in the chat, please. Don't be ashamed. Put it in the chat. What jumps out to you? Somebody said number two. Somebody says number two, three, and four. Somebody says two, three, and four, and five. Somebody says two and three. That's right. Anybody else? Anybody else? That's right. All these things are true. Somebody says all of them. Absolutely. This is the case around the country. And y'all, I thank you for that. Somebody said two, three, four, and five. This is true. When we see what's going on and we see it's not going to get any different unless we change, we've got to change. Now, this is not what Ricky said. Webster said to do the same thing and expect a different result. Somebody put in the chat what that is. To do the same thing and expect a different result. What do they call that? If you would put insane. That's it. Insanity. I didn't say that now. Y'all said that, right? But that's exactly what it is. We've got to be willing to change. Now, here's another important thing I want to point out real quick here. I want to show you some people that had a full-time job and they loved their full-time job, but they needed some more income. This first one is making $1,000 a month. Now, anybody on this call tonight, we all can agree that another grand will make all the difference in the world. $1,000 a month, you can go out to eat every now and then. $1,000 a month, you can get some tires on the car. $1,000 a month, you can fund a vacation or whatever the case may be. $1,000 a month wouldn't make a difference. Somebody said, absolutely. Yes, it will. There's other couple, right? A young lady, she's a social worker. She's making another $2,600 a month teaching families how money works, how to get out of debt, how to plan, how to budget, how to plan for retirement. Another over 30,000 a year helping. She's already a social worker, helping people. Now she's helping other people in another way, and then she's getting paid to get that done. This last guy, he loves what he does for a living as an engineer. He's very analytical, but he's making $2,600 a month part-time with us. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to make that change. And you are the one that can do it. But we got to make our mind up and not worry about what people think or what people say. These people right here went full-time. They left their jobs. He's making $117,000 a year. He was a registered representative. This person right here is making $124,000 a year, working in a plant. And this last one is making $133,000 a year. He was a financial counselor. You see, in the next page here, I'm gonna bring it on to a close, and I want you to think about this. I'm not giving you all the details. Folks are making a whole lot more than that, obviously, as well, because they build teams, just like in real estate. They let you build a team in Primerica as well, so you can make a real high six figures. Doesn't cost a whole lot to get involved. And some of you may say, Rick, I can't believe it's not going to cost me $2,000 or $3,000 to get licensed and certified. No, it does not. It takes a little determination, a little bit of sweat equity, and you got to study to pass a state exam. You don't pay a lot of money. You ain't got to worry about that part. So let's look at that. What are you going to get? Education, flexibility, and a way to do this on a part-time basis. That's a big deal. What are you going to pay to get started? $99 and $25. That's $124. That's for your license, your exam fee, your processing fee, your fingerprint. That's for your study material because you got to study for a state exam. If you decide, Ricky, I don't want to just stop with the foundation, which is showing people how to get the right kind of life insurance. Can I get my investment license too and set up retirement accounts and college funds and 401ks for small businesses? Can I do that too? Yes, you can. And look at this. Primerica is going to pay for the license. Now, the license to get that, to start doing that, is like $750. But the company's going to pay for all that for you. Ladies and gentlemen, as I close the meeting tonight, the only thing you have to do to do this part-time is make a decision. Make a decision that you're sick and tired of the rat race, if that's you. Make a decision that you want to do something where you can change not only your life, but the life of your friends and families, if that's you. Make a decision to reinvent yourself, to begin again, to go back to Genesis and start all over again. But you got a chance now to pace yourself. I was talking to another good friend of mine that's in coaching up in Massachusetts. She said, Mr. Pierce, I put all at the college level. You put all your blood and sweat and tears into a program. You recruit people and you train them and teach them and all this. And all of a sudden, just like that, they can let you go. This is the way it is in the corporate world, ladies and gentlemen. And there's so many politics in corporate world now. And I'm gonna stop there because I could just go on and on in this. But I'm saying, get with whoever brought you out tonight, schedule a one-on-one meeting, and let's talk about doing something that can change and revolutionize the family's financial life for the rest of your life. Thank you so much for logging in tonight. Y'all have a great rest of the week, and we'll hope to see you sometime soon. Y'all take care.